So here are some observations about what I think is going on. First of all, these two definitely seem to being co-involved. No one's ever mentioned the elderly guard. It's always this prime suspect, the younger guy. Um, but they look very equal to me in terms of their involvement. But I think the real key has to do with these car lights. I think um, when they see them, so they're looking at the monitor, and I think this guy's called someone and said, you know, what should we do about these lights? And I think they've called law enforcement, and they said, you know, we want to leave them on. So here's the guy, and he turns the lights off. So when the guy buzzes him in, 10 seconds later, he sent him back outside to go turn the lights back on. And that kind of authority to be able to say, listen, I just spoke with someone, or you should go do this, that to have it so quickly done, it implies something. And I just don't see this guy calling this guy's mafia bosses to say, you know, what do you want to do about the lights? It makes more sense to me that they would call law enforcement, because he looks like he's asking something. He doesn't look like he's saying it's unusual to have those bright lights. And in any case, they're so suspicious that the idea that this wasn't something to worry about is another curiosity. The only reason they need the lights in the first place is because the next night they say that it was two policemen. So presumably when policemen come to make a call, they're going to leave their car lights on. The whole thing is dubious, but that's my reading of it. Finally, it defies credibility that this guy's passed 3 polygraph tests. I mean, on the basis of this video, it's just inarguable the role that he's played. And if he's passed 3 polygraphs, then that's incredible red flags. And it just doesn't make sense. And the font of misinformation throughout this has come from the FBI, who took this video the day after the robbery. We've never seen it since. And it was only released because a woman FBI agent took over the investigation, I think, a few years ago, and has begun going through things again. But there's every reason to believe that this video was well understood to convey something that wasn't helpful, and it was hidden or whatever. And the other fact is that if presumably there's similar footage from previous nights, and looking at that footage would shed light on the relationship between these two to show, to me it looks like they're waiting for someone. But if you look at other video, presumably it would show that that's business as usual or not business as usual for them, but it would give more information. And finally, the way this was released without any sort of context, any sort of explanation, just ineptness at best, but real troublesome questions, most likely. My theory is that they made a deal with this guy. Apparently he had drug issues, and I think that's how he turned up on the radar, possibly of the mafia or someone. And they made the connection from there to the fact that he was a guard in the Gardner, and that's how this whole thing evolved. But I think they made a deal with him and said, we won't prosecute you for these drug things in exchange for this insider help. And what they gave him were that he would pass these polygraph tests that I'm not sure have ever been released to the public or anyway.